What's up, space pirates? This is your Admiral, the obviously awesome Dr. Disaster, and you guys probably remember that a week or so ago, the director of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth came out and told everyone that these days, the way that Square Enix makes games is by keeping a global audience in mind.
I hate this.
We all know that this is really just a synonym for the buzzword modern audience that these present-day game developers claim to be chasing after with their games. This is the attitude, this chasing after the modern audience attitude has been sinking certain Japanese companies as they transform the things that were once so charming about their authentic Japanese experiences into something that is wholly unrecognizable. Too many of them kowtow to Western sensibilities. Too many of them allow Western localizers to bastardize their vision. This is especially troubling considering the fact that these days, Western game studios can't even connect with people in their own cultures. It is fairly rare these days that a Western game succeeds at all, but at least one person, the creator of Super Smash Bros. And Kirby, seems to have the proper attitude toward this phenomenon. He recently gave an interview, and in it, he seems to have a message for the localizers and other people who want to change Japanese games into Western games.
Failure is your destiny. You disrespect yourself and your nation. You are made of stupid.
Alright, me hearties, make sure that you hit the like button on the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, and don't forget to support the channel and become a member. We've got some exciting projects you won't want to miss out on that will be members only, including exclusive audiobooks and a cartoon. It has occurred to me that we can't just complain about what these bad actors in the industry are doing. We have to work toward building something ourselves. But, in any case, let's take a look at what the Super Smash Bros. Creator decided to say about this situation with Japanese games gradually becoming less Japanese. I should preface this by saying that Mr. Sakurai, the creator of Smash Bros. And Kirby, I believe him to be one of the more brilliant minds in gaming history. The dude is a legend. Both of those franchises he created are among my favorites of all time, especially Super Smash Bros. It's an absolutely genius concept. Taking a whole bunch of unrelated characters and plugging them into a fighter game like this might seem more commonplace now, but he basically invented the practice with Smash Bros. But anyhow, let's read about what he had to say in this article here from the website Automaton, link in the description. In recognition of his YouTube channel, Super Smash Bros. And Kirby, Masahiro Sakurai was recently awarded the Art Encouragement Prize from the Japanese government's Agency for Cultural Affairs. On March 11th, he attended the award ceremony and gave an exclusive interview to NTAX, in which he shared personal views about the future of Japan's game industry. When asked what he thinks the domestic game industry should be doing to keep growing, to keep pace with the booming success seen in countries like China, Sakurai comments, "It's not really my own idea, but as an industry trend, I think Japanese people should keep pursuing the things that Japanese people like." Yes, they absolutely should. And for that matter, Westerners should be doing the same thing with what Westerners like. Make things that Western audiences like. Don't listen to the HR ladies when deciding what to put in a Western video game. If you want to know what would sell well, all it takes is for these game developers to visit a Steam forum or something like that. talk to your majority male audience and come to the realization that the so-called toxic masculinity is what sells well. But I digress. As for the Japanese games, Americans view Japanese culture as quirky and curious, and we love it for what it is. When they go out of their way to try not to offend certain loudmouth members of Western culture, all they typically manage to do is gradually drive away the people who genuinely love Japanese games for what they are. But reading on, the article says, he goes on to explain that the success of various Japanese games in the US kicked off a trend of making Americanized works. Or, Sakurai notes, you could say that there was a culture of following de facto standards. By de facto standards, he is referring to practices that get adopted as widespread norms by the industry as an outcome of market competition. However, Sakurai feels that people overseas who love Japanese games aren't looking for this kind of filtered experience, but rather, I think that they seek the uniqueness and fun of Japanese games. Hence the opinion that there's no need for Japanese developers to consciously adapt their work for audiences in the US or elsewhere. Bingo. This is exactly what so many of us feel, localizers who quote-unquote fix Japanese culture so that it can get filtered to us. Most gamers view this as outright censorship, and we generally despise the practice. The reason that I play Final Fantasy games is because, at least with a bunch of their past games, they were really fun. They had their own unique charm that was unapologetically itself. When Cloud dressed up as a girl in Final Fantasy VII and they poked fun at the practice of cross-dressing, that was fun and funny. We didn't need it to be modernized in order to make it palatable to gamers. The people who wouldn't buy the game for this reason were probably not strong customers anyway, and it's this sort of thing which has kept a Final Fantasy nut like myself from buying the remakes. Actually though, Madam Savvy over on X, who you should be following by the way, but she had a great take on this. In response to the article, she wrote, "This is exactly it, and the point I was making on the previous interview I commented on about globalization. No one wants a watered-down, Americanized JRPG. We fell in love with the Japanese games because they were Japanese. Whoever is westernizing the East is lying. They've destroyed our industry and now want to destroy the rest. Real gamers and nerds hate censorship. I hate the ESRB, the consultants advising for localization, which is just bastardization, and I hate what Visa and MasterCard are doing. Most do once they learn about it. No one wants work bastardized by some loser American, and I wish there was a law that added a disclaimer of shame for those who choose to alter a product's dialogue or authorial intent. A disclaimer that says, we changed the dialogue so you're not getting the Japanese advertised experience and story. Zero reason to ever remove a cultural reference, and if you notice who supports this bastardization, it's always the same loser crowd part of inclusivity and diversity. Laugh at them, don't bend the knee to them." Grums on X also had a potent take, writing, "Finally, Japanese devs are starting to realize trying to appease DEI advocates is the wrong thing to do. Japanese games are loved for their Japanese authenticity and flavor. That's why manga and anime are popular here. Yes, all of that stuff is extraordinarily popular here precisely because it isn't westernized and made weak. I've been getting into more anime lately. My son has steered me toward Demon Slayer, My Hero Academia, and One Piece. These are all undeniably Japanese, and I'll tell you right now, if these were to be progressivized, if they get infested with shit-lib, weak sensibilities, then I'm out. They will wither and die as the rest of Western entertainment has died. But I'm going to leave it there. What do you make of what Mr. Sakurai said? Drop your thoughts into the comment section below, and we will talk there.